We're gonna start with legs up the wall. So pick one hip, doesn't matter which one. Put it against the wall and just kind of lean back and rotate your hips around so that they are up against the wall. Knees can be bent here or straight. And the closer your hips are to the wall, the more of a hamstring stretch you're gonna get. You follow my advice. Okay. And this is meant to be a resting pose. This is meant to be comfortable. So if you're uncomfortable in any way, you can adjust. You can come into a seat, whatever you'd like. Just kind of get into position. Relax all your muscles. If you'd like, you can do a little pointing of the toes and a little flexing of the feet to warm up those ankles before you settle in. And start to feel your back body against the ground, back of your legs against the wall. And start to make your exhales a little bit longer than your inhales, maybe a second or two. You can relax your feet however's most comfortable for you. They can be pointing, they can be flexed, they can be in between. See if you can go down your legs, relaxing the muscles of your legs. Relaxing the muscles of your hips. Relaxing all of your back. And see if from here you can imagine that string coming out of the crown of your head, straightening out your spine, elongating your back. We're just going to relax into this hamstring stretch. Getting into these problem areas in the back of the legs with a really gentle introduction. And maybe your eyes are closed here, your hands are relaxed, wherever's most comfortable. And you begin to imagine yourself floating away from the ground. Let the world fall behind you. Let your day, your week, your month, your year, your physical space just drop away. So you're just floating comfortably in a void. Maybe it's space, maybe it's nothingness. At any point your legs begin to yell at you or scream, you can always take a little bend in the knee. You can bring your foot flat against the wall, or just gently bend the knees, whichever you prefer. While everything is fallen away from you, see if you can set an intention for today's class. Just something you want to keep in your mind. Keep yourself present. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and bring your bottoms of your feet to the wall and bend your knees in. You can hug your knees if you'd like into your chest. Just keep those feet pressed against the wall. Just a nice counter pose for a moment. On your next inhale, we'll extend those legs back up against the wall. We'll start by flexing the feet on an inhale. And exhale, point the toes nice and long. Inhale, flex the feet. Exhale, point the toes. Inhale, flex. Exhale, point. 2 more times like that. Flexing the feet on an inhale and pointing your toes on an exhale. On your next exhale, keep your toes pointed and gently spread the legs apart as comfortably as you want, as wide as you can. You can use your hands to support your legs. Or as much space as you have room for. Do a quick scan of your legs, a quick scan of your glutes. Make sure you're not holding any tension unnecessarily. Opening up those hamstrings, opening up those inner thigh muscles here. On your next inhale, we'll bring the legs back together. Exhale, bend those knees, bring the knees into the chest. You can hold your knees, you can pull your feet away from the wall if you'd like. Give yourself a little rock back and forth if you want. And when you're ready, you can roll onto one side and we'll come into a seat. This time we'll stretch the legs out in front. Pull the meat away from your sit bones if it's more comfortable. Imagine that string pulling up on your spine, nice long back. We'll inhale the arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Try not to round in your back. Come forward as much as possible. You can touch your thighs, your shins, your toes, whatever you can reach. Make sure to keep that spine nice and long. Crown of the head is pointed forward or towards the ceiling, maybe where the wall meets the ceiling. And on your next exhale, you can release down, round in the back. Stretch that lower back. And we'll inhale all the way back up. You can cross your legs and come into a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. You can be up in Vajrasana, up in Vrasana. In easy pose, you can have one shin over the other if that's more comfortable, whatever you prefer. We'll inhale the arms up again. Exhale the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale the fingertips into the air. Breathing here. Tucking in those ribs, pulling that belly button towards the spine. And on the next exhale, we'll stretch to the right, placing that right hand down on the mat, reaching the left arm over top. You can shine that chest towards the ceiling if you'd like. Reaching overhead, stretching all those intercostal muscles in the ribs, making sure both sit bones are pressing into the mat. On your next inhale, come back to center. Exhale down to the other side, placing that left hand on the mat, reaching the right, the right arm over top, shining that chest towards the ceiling, keeping both sit bones pressing into the mat. Reaching over, stretching those intercostal muscles all along both sides of the ribs. And on your next inhale, come back center, and exhale, fold forward again. Again, reaching in your back, elongating that spine, not rounding at all. Elongating that tailbone down. Breathing here. And then on your next exhale, you can fold forward, releasing down as far as you can. On your next inhale, we'll come back to center. Exhale, release everything out. Inhale, lift your arms into the air. Exhale, let those shoulder blades go down the back. Inhale, reach up with those fingertips. And on your next exhale, we'll twist to the left, placing the left hand behind you, right hand on left knee. Inhaling the spine nice and long. Exhaling, twisting to the back. Inhaling, nice long spine. Exhaling, twisting. Inhaling, long spine. Exhale, twist. On your next inhale, you can come over to a little counter twist. And then exhale, back center. Then we'll inhale the arms back up. Exhale, twist to the right, to the left, placing that left hand behind you. Right hand on left knee. Inhale, nice long spine into the air. Exhale, twist to the back. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, twist. One more time, inhaling long. Exhale, twisting to the back. And on your next inhale, you can come into a little counter twist to the other side. And exhale back to the center. Inhale your arms up into the air. Exhale, we'll bend the right elbow down. Place the left hand on the right elbow. Press that elbow down the back, breathing here. Check in with the rest of your body. Make sure your ribs aren't popping out. Tuck them back under. You can move your shoulder blades back to the back. Make sure your shoulders are above your hips. On your next inhale, lift your arms back into the air. Switch arms, bending that left arm, placing the right hand on top. Reaching that left hand down the back. Check in with the rest of the body. Make sure you're not pushing those ribs out. You want to hold that belly button towards the spine. Press your elbows back in space if you need to. Breathing here. And your next exhale, release your arms back down. We'll inhale into cartoon cactus arms, just nice, like stick 'em up hands. And from here, imagine your arms going backwards in space. See if you can bring those elbows kind of so they're trying to touch each other behind you. Your wrists are in line with the elbows. Make sure you keep your arms at a 90-degree angle. You don't want to dip under or above. And your next exhale, release your arms down. Give your shoulders a little wiggle back and forth, forward and backward. Give your wrists a shake, your arms, your elbows. And when you're ready, we will come to a tabletop on your mat. Coming into tabletop pose, wrists are below your shoulders, knees are below your hips. Breathing here, see if you can press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Press your hands, fingertips, palms of the hands, every knuckle into the mat. Breathing here. And we'll start just by coming into a nice gentle twist, opening up that left side, lifting the left arm into the air. Opening up in the chest, reaching in either direction. Twisting from the torso. See if your hips can still stay in line. See if there's equal pressure still in the tops of the feet and in the knees. And on your next exhale, we'll take that left arm and thread it underneath. Walking the right hand out in front of you if you need. Breathing here, checking with the tops of the feet, making sure they're pressing into the mat. Breathing here. Breathing into that outer shoulder blade. Walk that right hand back. Press into the mat, lifting that left arm into the air again. Nice, gentle twist. Exhaling that left arm back down to the mat. And we'll inhale the right arm into the air. Inhaling into a nice, gentle twist, right arm in the air. Equal pressure in both feet. Equal pressure in your knees. Breathing here, reaching in either direction. Then exhale, thread that arm underneath. Placing the outer of the face and the outer of the shoulder onto the mat. You can walk that left hand forward if you'd like. Checking in with the tops of the feet, checking in with the knees. Make sure you have equal pressure in both. You can walk that left hand back, press into the mat, and come back into your twist. Stretching here, exhaling back into your tabletop. Checking in with your shape, making sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. This is turning around the other way. That's really weird. And we'll come into cat-cows. Inhaling your chest forward, your head into the air, dropping that udder down for a cow. Exhaling, rounding the back, dropping your neck down. Option to tuck the toes under here for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale cow. Exhale cat. Inhaling cow. One more time, exhaling into cat pose. You can start to continue this motion on your own breath. Maybe introduce some S and C curves into your spine. You can come forward in Chaturanga. You can come back into a child's pose. You can move your hips from side to side. Whatever you need to do. Just warm up the spine. When you're ready, come back into a neutral spine, and we'll tuck the back toes under and just rest the hips onto the bum. You can walk your fingers up if you'd like, so you're fully sitting up with those toes tucked under. You can help your toes tuck under if you need to. Maybe your pinkies don't want to make the journey. If this is too much for you, you can always come back down with your fingertips onto the mat. You can go back and forth. See if you can sit there stretching those toes until maybe you can't take it anymore. And then maybe you do 2 more breaths. When you're ready, you just walk back out of it into tabletop. We'll press the tops of the feet onto the mat. And either one leg at a time, you can bring your knees off the mat and stretch the tops of the feet. Either coming all the way into downward facing dog or just lifting the knees a little bit off the mat. If you're still near that wall, you can always use your wall to press up against. Just trying to stretch out our toes, maybe a more neglected body part. It works very hard. When you've had enough of that, you can come back into tabletop pose. We'll tuck the toes under and press back into downward facing dog. Knees can be bent as little or as much as you'd like here. You can pedal out your feet. When you're ready to come to stillness, see if you can inhale to your tiptoes and exhale, bring those heels towards the mat. Pressing those hips into the air, pressing those thighs to the back of the room. Breathing here. Your next inhale will roll into a plank pose. Breathing here. And exhale, press back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift your right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. If you're near a wall, to cheat like I am. Makes you feel real stretched, real stretchable, real flexible. On your next exhale, bend that knee, pull that heel towards the bum. Inhale, open those hips into the air. Breathing here. You can introduce any kind of motion you want in your ankles, knees, and hips. On your next exhale, you can close those hips, come back into downward facing dog, and breathe in down dog. On your next inhale, lift that left leg into the air for three-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, pull the heel towards the bone. Inhale, open your hips into the air. And breathe here. Start to introduce any movement into your ankles, your knees, your hips. When you've had enough of that, come back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, we'll come forward to tabletop pose. Untuck your toes and exhale down in between your feet. You can sit on your heels. You can sit in the space between your heels, or you can sit up on a block, whichever you prefer. And breathe here for a second while I get a drink of water. All right. Starting in Vajrasana, we're going to inhale the arms up above our head again. Exhale your shoulders down your back. Inhale those fingertips into the sky. Exhale, fold forward into child's pose. Breathing in child's pose. Elongate your tailbone. Relax your neck. When you're ready, we're just gonna wiggle forward into high cobra. Hands on the mat, not elbows, because high cobra, not low cobra. Breathing here. Your hips can be against the mat, your knees can be bent with just kind of a droop, whichever is most comfortable. And then exhale, press back into tabletop. Adjust your stance any way you need to. Tucking those back toes under, press yourself into downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg into the air. Exhale your foot in between your hands. Help it if you need. Take that back knee down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Inhale your arms up to Anjaneyasana. Exhaling, hands through heart center. Doing nice gentle twist by taking your left elbow outside the right knee. Pressing the elbow against the knee, palms against each other. See if you can twist from your midsection, gripping onto the mat with the top of your foot and your shin and knee. On your next inhale, you can come back to center. Exhale your hands back down to the mat. Tuck those back toes under again. And we'll come up into a stand. Take this back foot and kick it in about 12 inches. We'll do a nice gentle runner stretch. Both heels should be on the mat. Your front knee can be straight or bent. Getting into those hamstrings in the front leg, that calf in the back leg. You can tent your fingers here. If you can't quite reach the mat, you can always have a block. See if you can take that right hip and move it backwards in space. On your next exhale, you can bring that back foot up to meet the front foot. So you're in a forward fold at the front of your mat. Breathing here. Go ahead and nod your head yes, shake your head no. Your knees can be bent as little or as much as you'd like here. On your next inhale, place your hands on your shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold all the way forward. And then gently roll up to stand, placing each vertebrae on top of the previous one. Standing in mountain pose at the front of your mat. Your feet are hips width distance apart. You can place 2 fists in between the balls of your feet. Imagine that you are pressing your legs outward, that the outer edges of the feet are taking the brunt of the weight. Press your thighs out in space. Imagine maybe you have a block in between your knee, keeping your knees apart. Feeling that action in your legs, big, nice, strong tree trunk legs. Inhale those arms up into the air. Exhale the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale the fingertips into the sky. Then we'll exhale, fold forward. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. Make a little circle with your head. Make sure your neck is nice and relaxed. You can maybe fold a little bit deeper on each exhale, micromillimeters deeper. On your next inhale, we'll place your hands on your shins. Come into a nice, long, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Release everything down. Make the most dramatic forward fold you possibly can. Then when you're ready, go ahead and place your hands on your mat. We'll take the right leg back behind you. Not as far as you would go back for a lunge, just for a nice runner's stretch. Make sure both heels are on the mat. Your fingers can be tented or on blocks. You want to feel that hamstring stretch in the front leg. Maybe you imagine that left hip going back in space, pulling back maybe a micromillimeter. Relaxing that neck down. From here, you can bend your knees, kick that back leg back a little bit further so you're in your low lunge. Maybe adjust the front foot if you need. Drop that back knee down, release the toes. Now we'll inhale up for Anjaneyasana on the other side. You can gaze at your thumbs for a nice gentle back bend. On your next exhale, you can bring your hands down to heart center. You can hook this right elbow outside the left knee, pressing the elbow against the knee, palms of the hands against each other. See if you can make your twist come from your torso. And on your next inhale, you can come back to center. Exhale your hands to the mat. We'll go ahead and tuck the back toes under. We'll kick this front leg back to the back and come into downward facing dog. Breathing in down dog. On your next exhale, you can drop your knees down and come into tabletop pose. Gently make your way into high cobra. Dropping those hips forward. On your next exhale, press into child's pose. The knees can be together or separate in child's pose. Elongating that tailbone down, releasing your front vertebrae and your neck forward. On your next inhale, you can slowly walk your fingers back. So you're in Vajrasana again. One last time, we'll inhale those arms up into the sky. Exhale the shoulders down the back. Inhale the fingertips into the air. Exhale, release your arms down. Give yourself a little shake out. Get yourself a drink of water. All right. So we're going to try camel pose. Super easy. Back to our wall. So this is going to be very painful in your thighs. So if it is, stop doing it. That's my advice to you. So come into Vajrasana again, just sitting on your heels. Knees are towards the wall. You can bring your knees to touch the wall if you'd like. Super intense. And all you're going to do is press into the ground or your heels. Let's not do it that way. Let's come into a stand. So we're kind of like against the wall here, pressing against the wall. Keep your thighs pressed against the wall and see if you can bring your fingertips to your heels. Breathing here. Nice full breath. If this is not doable for you, just come back. Relax. Release yourself down. Yeah, I can't do it. All right, come back up. You can release yourself from the wall. Your thighs burn. You're welcome. If they don't, it's a waste of time. I'm sorry. All right, let's see what time it is. Okay, let's go to mountain pose at the front of your mat. Pressing your legs into the ground, imagining there's a block in between your knees, pressing out in space with your outer thighs. Inhale your arms up above your head. Exhale, stretch to the left. Imagine you're holding a giant beach ball in your arms. You can shine your chest towards the ceiling. next inhale, come back to center. Exhale, stretch to the other side, holding that giant beach ball, shining that chest towards the ceiling. Inhale your arms back up into the air, and exhale, fold forward. Relax down into your forward fold, release your tailbone, release the lower spine. Placing your hands on your shins, inhale for a nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Placing your hands on your mat, we'll kick that right leg back behind you so you're in your low lunge. From here, we'll inhale the arms into the air for a high lunge. Adjust your stance any way you need to. We'll rotate that back heel down, keeping the hips forward in space. Arms in the air for warrior one. Exhale your arms back behind you, interlace your hands behind your back, shine your chest towards the ceiling. On your next exhale, fold forward to humble warrior. Bring those hands up over your back. Bring that shoulder to your knee. Breathe nice, long, full breaths. Your next inhale, come back up into the air. You can release that front knee if you need to. Release your hands from your sides. Come back into that bent front knee. Rotate the hips open to the side of the mat. And extend the arms out to either side, and we'll come into warrior two. The front knee is at a right angle. Arms are reaching out in either direction. Your gaze can be over your front middle finger. Breathing here. Checking in with the body, making sure we're not holding any unnecessary tension anywhere. From here, you can flip over that front palm, reach forward and then back to reverse your warrior. Make sure you're not dumping any weight in that back arm. You can still lift it off your leg if need to. Then let's go ahead and straighten out that front knee. Bring the arms back into warrior two arms. Go forward as far as possible and then come down for triangle pose. Breathing here in triangle. Getting length in both sides of your side body. Reaching your arms out in either direction. From here, we'll windmill this top arm down and just walk yourself around so you're in a wide-legged forward fold towards the side of your mat. Toes can be pointed in, pointed out, or straight forward. If you'd like a little deeper of a fold, you can walk your fingertips back behind you. Breathing here. can walk your hands forward and come into a nice, long, wide-legged, flat back. And then walk your hands back around. So you're in a low lunge with your left leg in front. Kick that front leg back to meet the back leg so you're in a downward facing dog. Breathing here. Breathing in down dog. Your next inhale, we're going to roll forward to plank. Lower your knees, chest and chin to the ground. Inhale for a low cobra. And then press back into downward facing dog. Breathing in down dog, 3 breaths. And when you're ready, we'll lift the right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale the foot forward in between your hands. And come into your low lunge. Make sure you are nice and sturdy and strong here. And we'll inhale up into high lunge on the other side. Breathing here. Rotate that back foot down to your inner warrior 1. Exhaling your hands back behind your back. Interlace your fingers together, this time the weird thumbs on top. Inhaling to shine that chest to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, bring your arms over top. Holding that shoulder towards your knee. Breathing here. Your next inhale, you can come back in space. You can give that front knee a bit of a rest. Release your arms. Bend that front knee again. Open up your stance. Open up your hips to the side of the mat. Front knee is bent at a 90-degree angle. Arms are reaching out in either direction in space. Front knee is tracking over that second toe. You pull the belly button towards the spine if you'd like. Breathing here. Gaze over that front middle finger. Place the front palm into the sky, reach forward and then back to come into reverse warrior. Front knee is still bent and you're not pushing your weight into that back arm. Elongating both sides of the side body. Breathing here. Go ahead and give that front knee a rest. Straighten out your legs. Reach your arms out into warrior 2 arms. Reach forward as much as possible and then come down for triangle pose. Your hand can be on your shin, on the mat, or a block. See if you can reach your arms in either direction. On your next exhale, you can windmill your arms down and adjust your feet so you're in a wide-legged forward fold towards the side of your mat. Breathing here. You can walk your fingers to the back if you'd like. You can try to fold a little bit deeper with each exhale if you prefer. You can walk your fingertips out for a flat back again. And when you're ready, you can walk your hands over. So you're framing that front foot again. You can kick it back to meet the other one. So now you're in a downward facing dog. Breathing here in down dog, you can pedal out your feet. Reach those hips to the back. Reach your heels to the mat. Breathing here. Inhaling forward into plank. Exhaling, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. And exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Breathing here in down dog. On your next inhale, you can step, or hop to the front of the mat. So you're in a forward fold. Placing your hands in your shins. Inhale for a nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward. And slowly roll up to stand. Give yourself a little shake out. Take a drink of water. We'll do some balancing poses. All right. Again, coming back into your mountain pose, pressing those feet into the mat. This time, let's lean back and forth, coming into either side of the feet, either edge of the feet. See if you can press only on the inner edges of the feet, pressing only that way. Maybe your feet look a little like this. Now press only on the outer edges of the feet, pressing the thighs out in space. Holding that strength in your legs. We'll lift the right leg, well, whichever leg you prefer, lift one leg into the air. We'll come into tree pose. You can either kickstand the heel to the ankle, bring the bottom of the foot against the calf, or press the heel into the inner thigh, as long as your foot is not up against your knee. Got a wall? Use it. Hands can be at your hips, at heart center. They can be branches blowing in the breeze, whichever you prefer. If you have trouble balancing, just pick a spot in front of you to stare at. A spot that's not moving. And if you fall out, just come back in, no big deal. And if you decide you can't hold one shape, you can move to a different shape. When you're ready, you can release your arms, release your foot from your leg, bring your knee out in front, elongate your leg, lift your heel in space, a little bit more, and then let it go. Give your leg a little shake out. You can rub that outer muscle and that outer calf muscle. And then come back into mountain pose. Pressing on those outer edges of the feet, feel those thighs pressing out in space. Kickstand that opposite heel to the ankle, foot against the calf, or heel to the inner thigh, whichever you prefer. And if you fall out, just come back in, no big deal. Pressing in that outer edge of the foot, pressing out those thighs in space. Pressing the heel to the leg somehow. It can be at your hips, at heart center, branches in the breeze. When you've had enough of that, you can release your arm, release your foot from your leg, bring that knee out in front, elongate your leg, lift your heel, and then let it go. Give your outer legs a little bit of a rub. And we'll open up our arms to a big T. Pressing those feet into the ground, nice and sturdy. All four corners of the feet pressing in, thighs pressing out in space, arms out to a T. Exhale and give yourself a big hug. It doesn't matter which arm's on top. And we'll just reach around to the shoulder blades, either the interior or exterior of the shoulder blades. If you can walk your fingers back. From here, you can take same leg as arm that's underneath. And go ahead and cross your legs over top. You can cross at your ankle or your thigh, whichever you prefer. And just breathe here. You can release your leg, release your arms, give your arms a little shake out. We'll go ahead and cross them with the opposite arm on top this time. Reaching around, grabbing the back of the shoulder blades or the outer edges, whichever you can, breathing here. Taking that opposite leg over top your thigh or shin, whichever you prefer. Breathing here. Go ahead and release your legs, release your arms, give yourself a little shake out. We'll do one last balancing pose. So go ahead and press that right leg into the mat, pressing the outer edge, pressing that thigh out in space, and see if you can bring that left leg up into the air, either into half lotus, pressing that foot into the thigh crease here, or you can go ahead and just move that ankle onto the thigh. From here, you can go ahead and lower your bum, bend at the waist, and see if you can go ahead and balance on one leg with one foot over top. Hands can be at heart center. Breathing here. And when you're ready, you can inhale back up, release that leg down, give your bottom leg a little shake out. We'll press that opposite leg into the ground. Nice sturdy leg. We'll bring our other leg up into either half lotus, pushing that foot into that hip crease, or just bringing the ankle to the top of the thigh. Bending in the knee, bringing that bum down, bending in the waist, balancing on one leg. Hands to heart center, or resting on your leg, whichever you prefer. Breathing here. Maybe each exhale, you can get a little bit lower. And when you're ready, you can inhale back up, release your arms, release your legs, give yourself a little shake out. And we'll come to the front of the mat in mountain pose. Feet pressing into the ground. Inhale the arms up in space. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Kick the right leg back behind you. Bring the left leg to meet it so you're in downward facing dog. Right leg lifts in the air, three-legged dog. On your next exhale, we'll bend the knee. Bring that heel towards the bum. Inhale, open your hips into the air. And then on your next exhale, we'll bring that shin forward in space for pigeon pose. Shin is parallel to the front of the mat. Back leg is nice and long, straight behind you. You can inhale up for king pigeon and exhale down to the mat. Give yourself any support you may need. Make sure you're not holding any tension in your shoulders. Make sure you're not supporting yourself solely through the weight of your shoulders. Next inhale, you can walk your hands up. Bring yourself back into tabletop. And we'll just press down into child's pose. Give your hips a little shake out if you like. When you're ready, you can come back into tabletop. Tuck those toes under, press yourself into downward facing dog. And we'll lift the left leg in the air for three-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, bring that heel towards the bum. Inhale, open up the hips. And on your next exhale, you can bring that shin forward in space. Parallel to the front of the mat. Back leg is long behind you. You press yourself up into king pigeon. And then exhale, fold your whole body forward. Make sure you're not dumping any weight into your shoulders. Breathing into those outer thigh muscles. Nice, slow, steady breath. Aligns the body. We're doing this on purpose. On your next inhale, you can walk your fingers back, press yourself up in the air, come back into a tabletop pose. Pressing yourself down into a child's pose, releasing your neck, releasing your tailbone, maybe giving your hips a little shake out. And when you're ready, we'll just wiggle our way forward so that we're laying on our stomachs. Go ahead and place your forehead on the ground or the mat, whichever you can. And give your hips a little shake out from back and forth. Maybe make like an infinity symbol with your tailbone. And then zip those legs up like a big zipper is in between your legs. Reach your arms back behind you. You can interlace your hands behind your back if you'd like. And on your next inhale, we're just going to lift the head, neck, and chest into the air, reaching back with that fist of interlaced fingers. Breathing here. You can lift your legs on your next inhale. Pointing those toes, legs are still together. Breathing here in locust, reaching everything to the back of the room. And on your next exhale, release all the way down to the mat. Place one cheek on the ground and just give your hips a little shake out. When you're ready, we'll place the elbows underneath the shoulders for Sphinx pose. Hands out in front of you, shoulders, elbows underneath shoulders. Just elongating that back, reaching that spine into the sky. And then on your next exhale, roll forward again, release your hips, and we'll roll onto our backs. Go ahead and windshield. You could place your feet on the mat and give yourself a little windshield wiper back and forth. Release any tension in that low back or those outer hips. You can hug those knees into the chest again. Rock back and forth, or forward and back, or maybe just roll your knees in circles to massage the low back. When you're ready, you can release your feet back to the mat. Make sure your heels are about grazing distance from your fingertips. And when you're ready, we'll inhale the hips and chest into the sky. You can wiggle your shoulders underneath you, pressing into the ground with the bottoms of your feet. Into bridge pose. Breathing here. When you're ready, you can release your hands, release your shoulders, bring your spine back down to the mat. Windshield wiper your knees back and forth. Place your left foot on the mat, left or right ankle on left knee. Lift that left leg into the air. We'll lace our arms through, grab the back of the left leg, and press out on the right knee with the right elbow. Breathing here, you can rock side to side. Maybe you can find a spot that's maybe a little bit more stuck, a little bit more stubborn. And just breathe into that outer hip area. Make sure both feet are flexed. And then release your legs, release your arms. So we'll switch spots, placing that right leg on the mat, Left ankle to right knee. Lift that right leg in space. Thread your arms behind the right thigh. Both feet are flexing and press out with the left elbow against the left knee. Again, you can rock back and forth if you'd like to find a spot that's maybe a little more stuck, that maybe needs a little bit more love. Breathing here. Release your arms, release your legs. Windshield wiper your knees back and forth. You can go ahead and hug those knees into your chest. And when you're ready, drop them to one side. Keeping one hip and both shoulders on the ground. If your knees are closer to your face, the deeper the stretch will be. You can also cross the top leg over top the bottom if you'd like. Your arms can be out to either side, placed on your legs, cartoon cactuses, whichever you prefer. And just breathe here. On your next inhale, you can bring your legs back to center. And exhale your legs to the opposite side. Stretching from the midsection. And on your next inhale, you can come back to center. And you can reach your feet into the sky and reach for your inner arches for happy baby. Pulling those knees into your elbows into your armpits. Gently rocking back and forth. And when you're ready, you can release everything and relax down into Shavasana. Make sure nothing's touching any props, any walls. Just let all your hard work sink into your muscles and bones.
I forgot. I went to the store. I forgot I left something.
Begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. You can make small movements in your fingers and toes. When you're ready, you can roll onto one side using your arm as a pillow. And take one breath in the fetal position. And using that same slow quality of movement, you can come up to a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to heart center. Just take a moment to thank yourself for coming to yoga and doing something for yourself. And congratulate yourself for that. We'll close with one Om, inhaling for Om. Om. Namaste.